Thank you, Alex. McGraw, we didn't forget about you. You have to figure out that mess. Thank you. Okay, so we had a very unusual, well, it's kind of an unusual market with this news that's pushing it around. But a wide range bottoming tail, expansion bar. And that is a good monster type of correction bar. You know, that it took out these lows and reversed back up again. Just reviewing, you know, we had gotten our warning on this bar here by our internals, risk for longs, and it resulted in a choppy sideways corrective price action. Now, this kind of a candle ideally comes on a retest pattern after a decline. You know, after, I guess, a week and a half or so of correction to get that is weird. Now, of course, it's being driven by the news event. So I'm really not sure. My expectation for it, I think, just has to be based on the market's going to go higher. You know, it's at all-time highs. However, excuse me, sentiment is just not the greatest here. I had said earlier in the week, when breadth declines toward the zero line, that's typically where the market is going to reverse short term from a corrective action from the high. Up here. Dan, your mic is on. So now sentiment has flipped back up toward the warning zone. Now, you know, this bar is very different than what we have in the spiders, which is nothing like that. So it gives me a whole different perspective here based on that. And sometimes they just don't line up that way because the futures are trading overnight. So which one do you go with? It's not an easy answer, honestly. You know, I've looked at one at times in the past, and you know that has been the better guide than the other. So I can just tell you what I see on either of them. So what I see here, right, this is trading at 326, which is up above the high. That's a good thing. Now, let's see where this goes today. If this is the high of the day and this comes back in and trades within yesterday's range, well, then tomorrow I'm going to tell you that possibly have a breakout bar failure. So we'll see. If this is the low of the day and it pushes higher, that's going to be a very good sign for the bulls, that it can do that after a corrective price action such as this. So we're going to obviously see how that goes. Right now, you can just see it's kind of just dead flat here. So we'll see what happens. The weekly chart is still somewhat extended here. You got that slowing momentum. And now, again, this bar is not done. We got today and tomorrow. So we'll see. You know, yesterday's move was able to break out of the trading range, the hourly trading range that we've been talking about for a little while here. But at the end of the day, it came back in, and now it's back up here. So a red bar ignored initially on the hourly chart. That's a good sign. But it's the beginning of the day. We'll see. We're going to see how this all works out in a little bit here. So initially, good sign of a breakout, obviously. Bad sign that it came back in. There wasn't the confidence to hold it overnight, but it's negating that for the time being. So we'll see how this all plays out. And we'll see, you know, I guess 30-minute breakout or 15 minutes, whatever it is. If it can chop around here for a little while and then begin to push higher, excuse me with this cough, guys, you know, bulls have control still. Sentiment is a fly in the ointment, right? Breadth got a little oversold, so kind of one neutralizes the other to some degree. So let's move on. Qs, similar pattern, right? It broke out. Sellers came in at the end of the day and 318, almost 319. So gapping above the high there. So that's a good sign, gapping above the red bar. We'll see if it holds on to it. Looks good. Russell, correction. Where is it? 360, 166. Not such a big gap, but still negating that red bar, but into resistance. So this has been an okay correction on the weekly. Nothing wrong there. Pretty normal as to what's going on. I mean, looking at this weekly and daily, the ideal scenario would have been a retest of this low and reversal. We don't always get the ideal, but again, this is still a corrective price action that's going on there. The transports getting better, getting toward that 200 number and see if it can close above it. We've been talking about whether these transports could bring up the rear. So we'll take a look at those transportation stocks today. We'll see again if the market, does hold on to the morning gain here. The transports should be where money starts to flow into since it hasn't participated in this advance. So that could be the outperformer. A lot of times the underperformer begins to outperform, especially toward the latter part of a trend before maybe a bigger correction, which isn't really unusual. When you have a rally, an end of year rally, it typically does continue into part of January before some corrective price action does start. I mean, we did get some corrective price action, for that week and a half or so. But if these transports can get above this 200 area, I think that's going to spark some buying in them. So take a look at that. Oil, we talked about the top of the trading range. Sellers were up there, knocked it back down, coming down to some support. Broken the uptrend on the daily chart, sideways trend on the weekly chart. So we'll see if buyers want to step up in here. Okay. Bonds, slap back down, coming toward the bottom of the range here. Set an alert. It'd be interesting to see if these actually break lower. Where are they? 155. Right there. They're updating. We'll see if it breaks down through here. Be interesting if they do, since they've been trying to bottom along here. So set your alerts. Gold correcting here as the market turned up. The fear trade of traders moving into gold. And that was a pretty big move, and it happened on the news. So, big moves like that just tend to result in profit taking. And, it's just pulling back here. I'll see. I need to pull it so far. Some buying coming in to what was some prior resistance area there. We'll see if it can turn around. But when you get big ranges like this, it typically results in a quiet period of consolidating the gain. So this is probably, I suspect, going to be dead money for a little while as the gains get consolidated and buyers feel comfortable stepping up, maybe at this around this level around here. We'll see. And silver, kind of the same story, broke out and came back in here. And, here at some support. So stabilizing there. So pretty, normal kind of price action, going on here this morning based on yesterday. And we'll see how it all shapes up. And, going back to, I didn't look at the diamonds, but, this is of interest to me to see whether today can close near the high of the day and above this level versus, just poking above in an inside bar here. That might be a little bit of a potentially bearish pattern. We'll keep an eye on that. And the diamonds, where are they? 289. Yeah, right up at clearing these highs. So again, we'll see if it can hold on to these gains here in the first half hour or so. And if they do, that'll be encouraging that they can continue to do that throughout the day. So, all yours, Dan.
All righty. Yeah, we had that little sell-off into the close. We met targets on a bunch of our short credit spreads. So we had like 10 open positions. Now we only have 3, which is fine. Hey, Greg, you got the screen locked again?
Shouldn't be.
Wait, you cannot start screen while the other participant is sharing. And I hit OK, and it's not letting me pick another.
You must have come out of the room and went back in again.
I did, because it froze up. I did.
Okay. It should be able to now.
All right. Yeah, when it froze, I could hear you talking, but I didn't see your screen. It was all grayed out. But here we go. All right, all our opens are fine. Boeing was the only problem child, and looks like we might get lucky. It's gapping up now. Qs, even though it's overbought daily and weekly, that was a beautiful breakout. And so on the breakout, we bought a bull call debit spread. You know, ugly sell off into the close relative to the 15-minute chart, but you know, it was fine still on the daily, and I love the gap up over this. So I sent out an alert saying move stop break even on that. Let's look at things. Gappers, earnings, leftovers. Splunk was a beautiful 1, 2, 3 yesterday. And then I said on this wide range bar, I gave you the very clear entry. Give me a 15-minute buy setup that holds the upper 50%. And then when it did 100% retracement, I still had it in a window, and you know, then look at it, it just blasted here. But daily still looks great on Splunk. Debbie, you're, well, I don't know if Debbie's here, but Debbie gave me this yesterday, and I said, yeah, I like it. And it triggered there in the morning. Let's go to Gapper's Peck here. It looks like a penny stock toy. Got no interest, pump and dumper. Starbucks, I like this gap. A tight stop would be under this pivot, maybe a little more, but the safest one is yesterday's low. But I like the gap breakout with the weekly. Target 44.45. So I like Starbucks a lot. So that's step 1. Step 2, for me, my simplified gaps is just now watching it on a 5-minute chart at the open. And within the first 30 minutes, if it sets up, then I'll tell you. It's that simple. ELTK looks like another pump and dumper. Look at this. This is just classic pump and dump. It's a junk, blasts off, and they come back to earth. Yeah, KSS on earnings got whacked. Let's see, 45.50, your gap, I'm way down here. I'm not crazy about that one because all these weekly tails are support. We'll come back to them. NVIDIA, I like as a put spread. Let's see how that sets up. I actually gave it yesterday, right there on the breakout. And then I noticed I gave you the wrong, oh, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's earnings or not. But I thought it was, but my reaction to it is the same. It's a nasty gap. So I said it didn't trigger because I said, hey, do a $5 wide for 93 cents, but it was really a $10 wide for 93 cents. And then it sold off, and I said, hold on. Tanya figured out I was talking about the wrong spreads. She got in, asked if she should bail on it. I said no. So Tanya, if that you holding it is paying off, you'll be in a definite gain situation at the open. 671. Now I would love this pattern. See the high here is 438. If it were just gapping, you know, to like 450, 460, 470, then that's a buy setup after a blast off. But it's gapping too big right now, so there's nothing to do with that. Tanya McGraw. No, no, I know you're being funny. But no, I gave the trade officially, and she was just smart enough to figure it out that I had the wrong spreads. All right, spots. Spot looked fantastic. I think one of you mentioned it again yesterday morning, even though it's up a little. Oh, it got a downgrade today, I remember. So the downgrade, I still want to watch it. I have it here in the bottom right. We want this, if it can take out a 30-minute high, then I think we can get a put spread on that. This is garbage. Bearish gap. AMD. Can you believe some clown came out and gave this an upgrade today? I think it's, look, where were you at 30 bucks? Where were you here at 21 bucks? Where were you here at 13 bucks? It's up 25 weeks in a row. And now you're upgrading it? It's just idiocracy.
It's called job security, Dan. They get somebody in, and then they have to keep coming back to that person to know, what do I do with it?
No, wait. I didn't follow that logic. So if you're an analyst and you're calling your client saying, I'm giving an upgrade on AMD, how many shares do you want? How is that helping the client?
Client doesn't know what to do. They're locked in. So it's okay. It's long term. Same thing with newsletter writers, right? You get the guy set up there, they're in it. Now they're dependent on you.
Okay. I totally missed what you were saying. Now I do. Wow. That's totally unethical. But we both know that. Yeah, actually, that's right. Right. It's a mechanic telling, you know, right. And it's also like the insurance companies wanting you to stay sick and not giving you, you know, not curing cancer and stuff. You know, they don't want you to cancer to be cured. Oh, gee, and McGraw and everyone else in South Florida, I read today that the flu season here in Florida, they said it's really, really bad. And they said 3,800 people have already died in the US. 55,000 have gone to the hospital. Yeah. All right, so Jeffrey's here. It's junk. So I'm no doctor, but my doctor friends say to get the flu shot. This trade's spotty and it's a mess. You're gone. That was earnings. Cross earnings, 27 bucks. Gap in the support, so it's not a tier 1. Healy, I don't know if it's yeah, I think, yeah, this one was earnings. But look, this is a big gap. I would have preferred the last 2 weeks to be more vertical. And then if it was gapping up 10 bucks, then that would be a gap and crap candidate, and also a candidate a candidate to sell out of the money calls because it's on earnings and gapping up big. So premium will still be jacked. So I'm going to put that in a window and we'll see. Well, it's a bear call credit spread candidate. KSS, I said I don't like the weekly support. Look, it's gapping to 45.50. You know, I wouldn't short that. No, I got no interest in that. BBBY, 1483. I don't know. We gotta come back to this. CHS 440. Oh, well, it's a bullish gap with a price void. If this can take out a 30-minute high, that's a candidate. So you can put it in a window, see how it behaves at the open. I'll do it. Sample. Now see, before I even look to see where it's opening, I'll tell you where I'd like it to open, right here. If it could open right over the high of this red bar, then you could buy a 5-minute high. But it's not, it's gapping down under this, which the 30-minute low, it has a price void to the downside with a breakout failure. All right, Fabio, back to BBBY, a shakeout. No, that's not a shakeout pattern. That's just, you know, oversold and, you know, buyers are saying, oh, you know, maybe that's a good value down here. But I see nothing yet. AZZ 50-50, it's a big gap. Yeah, too big for me, we'll come back to it. AYI 131, that's a bearish gap. That looked like it was putting in a long-term bottom. Look, this was a gap down, wow, in October. And so look at that, it grinded its way back and then broke out. I would have said that monthly could go to 160, but you know, today's gap's messing it up. That's what happens when you hold over earnings, you take that risk. Bravo Lima. Oh, McGraw, this came from you. And I said it was a beautiful 1, 2, 3 yesterday. You know, now it's another up bar, so just, you know, the risk to reward is not the same. Shack bottoming pattern, but if it can get over yesterday's high, candidate for put spread. Zulu Sierra, McGraw mentioned this to me also. It's kind of a double bottom on the weekly. So McGraw, I like this as a put spread under yesterday's low. So if you want to put that on your homework sheet for us. Q's breaking out here. Q's look great. Yeah, the fangs look, I mean, Apple's on a tear. McGraw gave me sale. I like the weekly. And look, the monthly is actually a 1, 2, 3. So McGraw, I like sale on a pullback. Oh, I just noticed. Oh, I saw my minder on G. Says it was up 65 cents. I hope it is gapping up there. Then, because we got long that yesterday. Let me Google. No, we're out of Google put spread. We're still, I'm looking at, just glancing at the opens. Everything's fine. We got into Echo Alpha yesterday. I posted that over MT Live or right after it. CMG we're still in. I like the gap up there, so I'll probably move the stop to today's low. Whiskey Mike. Morgan Stanley. Hey, it's fine. Morgan Stanley doing a lot better after this little breakout failure. Let me keep going here. LSCC, McGraw, it looks good. It's just a matter of your entry. McGraw, see, I like just pointing out no-brainer entries. So assume we didn't even get in this bar. Look right here. You know what, that would be a good assignment for us to do one day. Is just pull up any chart, and then as quick as your eye can see, try to, point out no-brainer entries. And mine would have said right here, this bullish 1, 2, 3 right there. So, when you're asking me about entering LSCC now, look how far from the 20 it is. The problem is, where's your stop? Look, Splunk looks fantastic. If it did not have that deep retracement yesterday, we would be in it.